Are the mics? Oh, there we go. Hello.
mics are
we have
on.
audio.
I'm sorry, everyone.
Heck yeah.
I promise I'm calm now. I just came from Death Roulette, and Rob, who's running the panel, is charity stream. So you can donate to do things.
Oh, no.
And he was on my spicy donations panel yesterday. And he requested that I bring the sauce bottle again, but didn't tell me why. And every time my character died, I had to swill the hottest one I had. And I did that straight before coming here. So if I sound like Bob Ross right now, it's not because I'm trying to be calm. It's because I'm genuinely in pain.
Do you want some of the water?
I'll get some water in a sec. But you do the thing we're supposed to do. I'm just going to chill.
Okay, everyone, welcome to what's the title of this? Only you can prevent unpainted plastics getting into miniature painting and how to start hobbying. Welcome in, everybody. Before we begin, I'd just like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri Wurrung people, the traditional custodians of the land of which we gather on today, and we pay our respects to the elders past and present, and we extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today. So welcome in, everybody, and let's get started. Who's excited to see some miniature painting? All right, now before we begin, we want a little show of hands, because we are gonna, if you guys do have questions and stuff like that, we will get all to that. But show of hands if you have painted a mini before. Yeah. Okay, and then show of hands if you haven't painted a mini before.
Yes!
Okay,
That's a good
so
the
we got
corruptibles.
Yeah.
He's also corrupt.
I have never painted a mini, so I am here to ask the questions that you guys probably also have. So let's get into some introductions. So first off, Murray.
Hi.
So, for those who don't know Murray has been building, sculpting, and painting scale models for over 16 years with a traditional arts background. Do we need? There we go.
It's me.
I will do that.
Actually, that's a model of a Chaos Warrior.
It could be me.
That's actually Murray on the
Avid cosplayer.
I don't look so good today. I'm sorry.
But yes, Murray has a traditional arts background in education, and he tends to paint a bit differently. So I'm curious to hear a bit more about that. And what is considered, different to what is considered standard. What do you mean by that?
I think Games Workshop has standardized how to paint a miniature. Whereas I paint like I learned in art school.
Oh, okay. Terrific. Sorry, I've lost my spot.
Sorry, you've locked eyes with me. It happens.
You got such beautiful eyes. So,
See?
But you can find Murray on as part of a YouTube channel, Tabletop Time. Do we have any Tabletop Time fans here? There we go. Terrific.
Oh my gosh.
Murray has a huge love of art, illustration, and animation, and that inspires him to keep painting and pushing himself. So welcome in, Murray. Let's get a round of applause. All right, next up we have Dave. That is a very interesting photo of Dave.
That's also Dave, yeah.
Yeah. Dave has been painting and building little models with guys for as long as he could hold a brush, starting with model kits with his dad growing up, very cute, and playing floor hammer. Floor hammer?
Yeah.
Floor hammer.
I'm a connoisseur of the floor hammer myself.
Hey.
Yeah.
You're not allowed tables in 2001. That's for your
They weren't invented yet.
Scrapbooking or whatever. So you play on the floor with terrain from your bedroom and tissue boxes and stuff. Yeah.
Amazing. He lives and breathes a hobby that sometimes frustrates, but is always satisfies. Dave now owns a game store and manages Tabletop Time. Again, Tabletop Time fans. There we go. And
It wasn't about Murray.
They had their one.
yeah, no, that's it.
They had their one.
Let's give it another shot. Tabletop Time. Woo! There we go. So, meaning his painting has been seen and criticised around the world. Featured painter on Warhammer community, but more of an all-round hobby guy than a pro painter. So welcome in, welcome in, Dave. I almost called you Murray. Next up, we have Matt. Matt has been building, painting, and... There we go. Any Matt fans in the crowd?
One at least.
Painting and playing with tiny plastic figures ever since he found the Lord of the Rings Warhammer magazine series as a child. I think I remember that.
That was so good.
Was that the one you bought like one a week
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you eventually amassed a huge army?
So we'll talk about that later, but yeah, that's like one of the cheapest ways that I got into it. And
I
it was
bought
like,
one of those magazines. It was like the Titanic set. You buy the first magazine.
it's the Lord of the Rings.
I know, but you buy the first magazine, you get that first piece, and
Oh,
then I
yeah.
stopped.
They give you a little taste.
They give you that taste.
Give you a little
yeah.
taste, and then you're in.
I need to know how you stopped.
Monetary struggles being a uni student mostly. And then when COVID hit, oh yeah, we're back.
But since coming back into the hobby 10 years later, he has since started taking commissions, won a couple of awards for his unique army themes, and streams his painting journey each week on his hobby and TTRPG channel, Split the Party. Matt has a love for all things hobby and strives to paint a variety of different formats and techniques to help keep things fresh. So again, welcome in Matt, everybody. And last but definitely not least, we have Domino, who has been painting miniatures on and off casually for under 10 years with a background in graphic design and works as a photographer who's actually working this weekend. So if you see Domino, smile and wave to the camera.
What do you mean?
You said you'd never painted. You put your hand up to say you hadn't painted miniatures.
Oh, no, I
Drama.
think that's just cheering for everyone that hadn't.
I can confirm with you, I've never painted a mini. I've got them, never painted them.
You're halfway.
Yeah.
I didn't. It's not even out of the box. I'm just like, it's too pretty. I don't want to touch it. It's too nice. She has always had a creative spark. Domino paints miniatures for fun as a way to relax, and she often picks minis to paint that she finds interesting or just wants to paint. Which I think that's a good habit to break into. Just paint what you want to paint.
I painted on Wednesday night when I got to my hotel room because I was like, I need a Zen activity.
Change the slides.
Oh,
I have not.
Wait.
Briefcase. That's Briefcase.
Oh.
That's Matt.
Looking good.
And then we've got Domino, and that's Domino there. Sorry, I am bad with slideshows. Let's give it up for Domino. All right, now that we've introduced everybody, we want to thank a couple of brands because we have gotten a little bit of... if you guys want to start painting as well, just so people can have a... Domino's already way ahead of you.
Sorry, I always use stunt hands on camera. I actually don't paint.
Oh, okay, so we need the stunt double here today.
He needs swaps.
So we've got some paint from Vallejo. Vallejo. We've got some paints today from Vallejo, and we've got some stuff from Wizard of the Coast for sponsoring the paint and take. They're sponsoring the paint and take area downstairs. So if you're interested in like getting into painting, give it a shot downstairs in one of the painting areas because yeah, very cool stuff. And I think with that, we've also got some little fancy stuff to give away because Matt
Swag.
got a D&D book. Do we have any D&D fans? Yeah. Okay, so we will organise some way.
We'll do that at some point.
We'll
Actually,
do
we got a
something.
little idea. We'll come up later.
We'll figure it out. And we have a bag.
It's a dice.
It's a dice. Any
So-
dice fans? All right, terrific.
Mini painting adjacent. So, you know.
So, yeah, one of you will walk home with that book. Now, which one is that? That's the new one, isn't
This
it?
came out in September. This is like the 2024 Player's
that's
Handbook.
the brand new one.
As someone who does this as a job, I'm a professional DM. This is a really good update to the current one. But you can read about that later. We're talking about mini painting.
Yeah.
If you do want to, just for a plug for our sponsor, if you do want the new handbook, I believe they are on sale downstairs at the D&D booth in the tabletop area. But I think they have not a huge supply, so...
Well, it's a good thing I have one for every panel I'm on, and I've got 7 total this weekend.
Lucky.
So make sure you go to Matt's other panels.
That's my cheeky plug.
So we'll run down the line. We'll see what everyone's painting today. So Murray, we'll start with you. What are you working
Cool.
on?
Well, I just grabbed a whole bunch of stuff because
Stuff.
I didn't know what we were
Amazing.
doing.
Yeah, go for it.
So I have. Where we here?
Get real close
Absolutely.
to the cameras up there.
Wait,
Yeah, you can't really see that.
hold on.
It's a little crocodile on his rear legs holding a big fish.
Do you know? You could do a little flippy in OBS.
Just pass it around.
Yeah. If you need anything while you're setting it up, we've got
not
that
gonna get
good
painted
light.
Oh,
Oh, I need that music.
technology.
While we're doing that one, Matt, why don't you show us what you're working on?
Okay, so I was actually trying to get this one done before I came, but PAX Prep got in the way. Oh, what do you got there?
There we go.
Sorry, I'm genuinely interested to see what they're painting as well,
It's painted
because
black.
because although we work together in the same space, I don't get to see them do it firsthand. So this is just as good as it is for you as it is for me. And I can see some of the models that I've literally seen on Warhammer community over there, and I'm kind of like, oh my god. Okay, so I've been working on this anniversary. Oh my god, what's going on there? So I've been working on this anniversary mini for the Warhammer stores. It's called a Tau Invocation of the Elements. And I wanted to do like the original ochre and browns of their kind of desert homeworld. And so far it is actually only base coated, but you could call this done, even if you just did like a little shading or a wash on top. But I want to do this because it's a character mini. I think I've worked on this for about 5 hours, trying to be really neat with it. And then I will probably spend another 10 left on this thing, just because this is one of the ones that I'm going to have like as a display piece rather than a game piece, and I just really like it.
Now, you said base coat.
Yes.
I know nothing. I'm going to ask
Okay.
questions that, for some of you, might be like, really? But others, I don't know anything, so I'm just going to ask those questions.
Yeah.
Base coat. Run me through it.
Okay, so if you're going like the traditional, like the what do we call it, like the Games Workshop kind of
Yeah.
implemented, like
The heavy metal paint
the heavy
job.
metal look, or like they would, Games Workshop people be like, this is the traditional method, but an art student's going to be like over it. It's like the one that you'll learn a lot of tutorials for, that if you get into this thing. It's very intro friendly. There is one more that is also just as intro friendly, but a beginner and intermediate can really get into this one nicely. So what I've done here, I'll take a mini, usually in like a black or a white undercoat like this one is here, and then I will simply just block in the colors so it's nice and opaque, and you'll end up with a look like this. So I've got all of my block colors in, and I haven't done any shading and highlighting on this, which is why it kind of looks a bit flatter now. And then I will go through and either use a shade paint, which is kind of like a diluted ink type paint, or I will take other paints that are similar in viscosity to the base coat, and then I'll mix it with that base coat to create a darker or lighter tone, and it will come out eventually. I didn't bring a mini. Does anyone have like a shaded mini that's more like either a wash or a kind of like blend of base paint and layer paints?
I don't touch that stuff.
I see that. Oh no, you kind of got it over there with your wizard there.
Well, this
I can actually literally show you. I've got a mini that's ready for a shade right now. But yeah, what do you got there? Just while I'm doing this. Oh, just like you've got, so on here when we were looking at it, you can kind of see on the back here. You've got the base coat, and then you've kind of shaded since then. So you'd move on to this kind of. Can you see that? Yeah. You'd move on to this step kind of here, where you can now see some differentiation in the shade and the base. But if you were just to base something, which if by all means, I didn't used to do any shading when I was younger. I used to hate mini painting when I got into that Lord of the Rings magazine, so much that I only started properly painting again when I got back into it in COVID lockdown, and then it kind of clicked that I was like, oh, I actually can do this now that I have the patience for it and not an undiagnosed ADHD little child.
All right. Dave, what are you working on?
So, as I often paint for the channel, like this is one of the, we'll probably dig into it later, but when you're doing this as a full-time job, you don't get to paint for you as much as you would think. You know, you get home and there's life. You've got chores, you've got video games. Like there are things we like to do that aren't just mini painting. So today I thought I would paint for myself. So this is, I don't know if anyone's seen the wonderful game Space Marine 2, if they're not too familiar with Warhammer.
Woo!
This is an absolutely, totally loyal Space Marine fighting for the Emperor.
Heresy.
Yeah, so I'm painting loyal Space Marines of the Silver Snakes chapter. There's 3 snakes. It's a mythical Greek creature. It's all fine. It's all loyal. If you know, you know.
Domino, what are you working on?
So I am actually. Whoop, let me bring this back up. What was that camera gonna work? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go.
So I am working on this like D&D mini, which is just like this tree guy. So I brought something kind of, I'm going to be honest, super basic to sort of paint, so I could see how much I could actually get done in the hour. So yeah, I do a lot of D&D minis. He is also resin printed. He's not actually plastic. And so you may not all be able to see it. You're welcome to come look after, but I actually have at the front here the stages of like a resin printing of a mini. So for example, I'll show you here. So I'll show up on the camera as well. So like this is how the mini first comes out of the printer, because I've got a 3D printer. And so this is the witch in sprues and everything, and so you wouldn't normally leave it like this. Normally you alcohol wash it and clean it, and you take all the sprues off and you UV cure it. This has been UV cured in sprues, so it is not coming out. I did it personally, I did it purposely for this thing, because obviously resin is toxic, and so you need to cure everything properly. And then you'd take her out of the sprues, and then as Matt mentioned, you'll prime them. And so I have here a white base coat, a white prime, a black prime, and then what's called zenithal priming, and then I have the final result of the print as well, so you can see the stages. So yeah, these are 3D printed, as mentioned. So I own a 3D printer. I actually own a 3D, I'm just going to plug my own business for a second. I own a 3D printing business. It's called House of Doctor. We sell and print D&D inspired miniatures, and we have some commercial STL licenses. And so, yeah, the store is live, but everything is sold out because we're just finishing setting everything up. But we will have so the tree that I'm painting is one that I've painted, we printed, and then also this girl here. I'm really bad at this. You'd think I'd be better as a creator that does minis.
You don't ever get used to it.
But yeah, so I brought D&D because a lot of them brought Warhammer, and you can see the size difference between the scales of D&D and Warhammer. You'll find Warhammer is quite a bit more of a substantial size, like you can see there. So the Warhammer's the green one, right?
Yes, green Warhammer. So yeah, they've been upscaling everything as of recently, so it all used to kind of be this size. And then they now are doing, I think it's more akin to 32 scale rather than 25.
Just more true scale.
You could
True
argue,
scale?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could argue that all their models were basically sculpted to the incorrect proportions, and
They looked goofy.
They're kind of proportionally changing everything to be height accurate. So Eldar, which you've got in your hand there, for example, they're meant to be 7 foot tall on average. They're really rakishly thin and tall space elves. So they've actually, you'll find the Cadians, the humans, didn't change in height. They just changed in proportions.
They look really nice.
So it's just that everything in Warhammer is big, because it's Warhammer.
Yeah. Back when everyone sculpted by hand all the models, they did heroic scale, just the big chunky hands, faces, and
Conan
everything.
type things.
Yeah, easy to sculpt, easy to paint details and stuff. But now 3D printers and everything, you can have a bit more fidelity. So everyone's going, "Whoa, let's have true scale."
They've also tried to intentionally make certain factions like Space Marines, who are, they are actually 9 feet tall in the game. We won't go into the lore, but they've made them.
We don't have time for that.
We need an 8-hour panel for that. I'll go in a hyperfocus.
8 hours? You can do it in 8 hours?
I could do anything for 8 hours if I'm in a hyperfocus.
No, I mean you could do it that fast. I was thinking days.
If I explain it in silly terms, yeah. But Space Marines will be bigger again, and the intention for the design is that they have a lot of flat, smooth paneling, so they look like cool Space Knights, but they're also one of the easiest things to paint because they are designed to be the everyman faction that gets you into it. And so, specifically Warhammer, I guess, they are a nice big canvas that you can just try out on, and there are so many color schemes you can have with them because, in my opinion, they are the blandest, most boring guys.
I kind of... Sorry, just a second.
What's up, Dave?
Death staring.
I mean, the Horus Heresy is like a Greek tragedy. There's so much depth in there.
Yeah, but the lore is great.
Okay.
The lore is great. You tell me you haven't seen 400 of the same blue guy though.
Okay, but hang on. In their defense, they are the luckiest.
I think I'm going to have to step in at some point.
I'm here to cause problems.
Mum, they're fighting.
I have to say, if you're wondering why I'm on my phone,
yeah.
because it looks bad to be on your phone, I forgot how I paint my own army, so I'm just trying to get the photo.
Just guess.
So, with that, how about we get to our first question? How can I get into painting miniatures? So, expanding on that, how did you guys get into miniature painting?
Same way all Australians got into miniature painting in 2001 or 4. No. The Lord
Lord
of
of
the
the
Rings.
Rings.
Strategy
There you go. And Matt, we know that you were also Lord of the Rings?
Yep. Yeah, so it was Lord of the Rings was the gateway drug. And then it was the Fire Warrior PlayStation 2 game.
Yes.
And that got me into, so my main army is Tau.
Same.
Yeah, yeah, talk later. Oh, I've seen your things. Yeah, that's cool. So it was like a video game, much like, so right now the jumping on point for anyone who is playing Space Marine 2, that is your gateway, because that game is freaking awesome, and if you feel like learning about the lore, engage... Did my mic? No? They didn't cut me off.
Not yet.
Like, you basically find the thing that makes you interested in it, and then, like, for example, with the Games Workshop stuff, and we're going to harp on a lot about this, because that was most of our gateway into this. Find a property that like you like the look of. Like, there's a lot of board games as well that will have minis now, like Dark Souls. Horizon Zero Dawn has an amazing board game that's out right now, and you can paint like a Thunderjaw T-Rex robot.
That's sweet.
Right? So find the kind of franchise that you're already interested in. Find like something if they do minis, or hell, 3D print plug, buy her stuff.
Facebook has my number. It keeps showing me the new Mass Effect board game with miniatures.
What?
I'm so doomed.
Man, I love Rex.
So I do
Sniper
feel,
guy's dope.
I feel somewhat quite qualified to talk on this topic because I have owned and operated a game store for 10 years, aside from YouTubing. So literally introducing people to the hobby is something I've done for many years. And I think the biggest key is don't get caught up in what other people tell you to do, which is funny as I tell you to do something.
Don't get caught up.
But seriously, like the
the
number
thing.
one thing that you have to realize when getting into painting miniatures is you are going to be sat in a chair for tens of hours painting miniatures. There is no magical flick a finger and you look at your models and they're all painted. So pick the thing you want to paint. Don't pick the thing that sounds good or a YouTuber said, oh, these guys are great, they're going to win you games. If the goal is you want to paint for painting's sake, do the thing you like. Just get it. Get the thing you want to paint.
Easy. I like that answer. Domino, how did you get into painting?
So pretty much exactly what Dave just said was I was like, that's a cool thing. I want to do the thing. I don't care about the game. I don't care about anything behind it. I just want to paint the cool mini. In saying that, I've definitely gone down the road now of learning about Warhammer, and I now play Warhammer, and let's not talk about it.
One of us.
No,
We're
it's
going to play
Space...
Tabletop Simulator.
No, it's Space Marine 2 and my husband's fault.
Yeah, fair enough.
And the local Games Workshop guy being amazing and teaching us everything. But I would like walk into like Warhammer stores and things like that and just be like, because I have such a creative background, and I was painting because I found it very relaxing. I just put on some music or I put on a movie or something and I just zone out and paint. And that's how I started painting. It was like those coloring books and things. It's kind of just like, it's just a relaxation thing. So I was doing it just for fun and for comfort. But yeah, I would literally walk into a Warhammer store or a local game store or anything with my partner at the time who would be looking for a specific army or something. And I'd be like, that's a cool Age of Sigmar thing. I'll buy it. And like recently I actually, like this is before I got into Warhammer. We walked into a Warhammer store and I've often gotten a lot of Age of Sigmar because they're a bit more fantasy and I like a bit more the fantasy style. But we walked into a Warhammer recently and my partner was like, I want to buy a Warhammer mini. I was like, sure, knock yourself out. He's like, do you want something? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll have a look around and see what I kind of like. Again, before I was into Warhammer. And I looked at this one mini, I was like, that's badass. And I wanted to paint something big, like a big hero piece. You know what I'm about to say, don't you? Yeah. And I was like, I want to paint something really big, something really hero piecey, something I really like. And I was walking around, I was like, that's kind of cool. I'm going to grab that. And I grabbed a Slanesh Keeper of Secrets. Yeah. Don't worry, now that I know the lore, I'm like, oh my God, why did I grab that?
For context, that's like a character mini, but it's like much larger than... Does anyone have something that big? No. That's like,
she's
it's like a
big.
centerpiece army
Yeah.
mini.
Yeah, she's huge.
And it...
And probably one of the most complex minis you could pick up because painting...
They look badass
Yeah,
though. But now
but-
that I know what Slanesh is, I was like, oh,
and
why did I go down that route?
That brings us to another...
Size of that.
That brings us to another... Yeah. That brings us to another point of like, start reasonably.
Oh yeah, wait, hang on. Wait, I don't know if this is going to show, but
Yeah,
that's
okay.
like the first. Oh, is that?
Turn your brightness down. You'll
Turn
get
my
it.
brightness down. It'll
Yeah.
work. Okay.
It's playing on stream for 4 years. It's just
Okay,
you just turn
that's
everything
like
down.
the first mini I went and picked up and painted, and that's a metal mini. That was fully metal back in the day when they were made in metal. The photo looks better than what it is. I guarantee you. It looks like it looks really bad IRL. So yeah, as Dave said, like take your time. It's not going to be. Actually, I painted. Okay, so this mini I painted for today. I actually timed myself to see how long this would take me.
You did this today?
No, I did it. Remember this week?
Oh yeah.
So no,
So, yeah,
for
10 minutes
today.
done.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
sorry.
This took me 9.5 hours to paint this. I tried very hard and I timed myself. But yeah, it takes a lot of time. But yes, the best way to get into the hobby is local game stores, Warhammer stores. If you walk into one of those stores and go, I want to learn how to paint, believe me, their eyes will light up and they will like, here, and they'll just start setting you up with stuff. I think the Warhammer stores as well actually have like a mini painting sort of like little course thing that you can do, which I found out about, but they were like, you probably don't really need to do it. And I was like, well, no, but I'll just come and paint for fun here sometimes at the store. But yeah.
Okay,
we have
that's going to bring us into our second question.
We do have questions at the end. Yeah.
Yes, we do have questions at the end. We will allow time for that. Where are we? What minis are available for painting? So you all touched on that. Like where can you get minis? What type of minis? What can people paint?
We got the board games. You got 3D printing. I'm going to go through everything other than the obvious one.
Where would you find these type of things?
Dave, where could you find something like that?
Hobby Bash in Warrigal.
There you go.
Oh, that's where you work.
And now I know where his store is.
You're welcome to come visit.
I will.
It'll probably
Hey.
be Jen there. But
And
not
shout out to Warrigal.
Hey, yippee.
Wow, yeah, all right. So yeah, local game stores are like the life of this hobby. As much as a single company is going to want to keep you in their system forever, you can go to any store. They will usually have like a paint and meet. Actually, someone that hires me for my D&D games was telling me about a. Do you know what a paint and sip is? Like it's like you go have a bit of wine and you paint like on canvas. That, but it's minis. Just started.
Hell yeah.
Oh, you tempt me. You tempt me with that cursed coffee, though.
Sorry, I have to, sorry, off the back of that. He said, don't drink the paint water. So the other week, I didn't drink the paint water, but I put my paintbrush in my drinking water. And I was like, well, we're not drinking that anymore.
Separate sides of the table. Just have a little sip. Don't
So,
have a little
I noticed that all of you have a bunch of materials. You've all got a bunch of gear with you. So,
these are other things of
yes.
like.
So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we should talk about those.
Warhammer.
Yeah, Warhammer.
So this is Dave.
That's a Warhammer.
That's
Yeah.
a Warhammer.
we went on your Warhammer community page quite a lot.
Yeah, we did.
It's actually just, this is a tidbit that may be interesting to 3 people. It's really hard for us to get on the Warcom page because we're in Australia, so we actually get anything they send us so late. And this applies to any Australian creator. So we actually had one recently, and the date for the submission of painted photos was 2 days after we received them. So like they can't really I guess they could send it earlier, but
They
yeah.
won't.
So it's hard. So most of the ones that are on there have been like ones where we just went, I'm doing it. So yeah, it's cool.
So we've got Warhammer. We've also got Hero Forge. I've used this for a D&D
You want to talk
character.
about
Yeah, I got a Hero Forge right here.
Anyone
actually.
want to talk a little bit about Hero Forge?
I've got one right here.
Sponsored by all the time, so we're happy.
Yeah. So Hero Forge is really, really good. It's custom mini generator, and it kind of has a range of. It's just literally just cut. Wow, they actually do a lot now. Just thinking about it, they've updated it so many times over the years that you can make any genre with a plethora of free materials to do it. Go on your phone. Maybe not in this panel. Pay attention to us. But you can design a mini for free, and then you can either download the STL, or if you can download it in, you can buy it, and they'll send it to you in a number of different plastics. I kind of get the premium plastic just so it's less brittle, and then you can paint your mini, and they are in scalable as well. You can make the height bigger or smaller depending on what.
We're saying that you can also order it in like little bronze.
Yeah, you
miniature
bronze,
of it.
metal, and things. That makes it heavy.
You can be very extra.
This, specifically, if you want to mini paint, order it's in like just a plastic color. They also unrelated to mini painting, they also now print in plastic color. If you feel like you want to get it's a lot more expensive, but they will print plastic color, and then you could use that as a basis to paint on top of. I wouldn't recommend it because they cost a lot, but you could buy like an STL next to the color mini you have created in Hero Forge, and then paint it to practice and see where the color sits nicely. And I think there's a paid version where you can like do lighting if you ever want to try out a technique called object source lighting, which will direct color at a mini, and you can place it in 3D space to then take to your mini painting journey.
If you do ever buy the STLs, that's when you can like send it to like an independent printer like myself or someone else on Etsy or whatever. You can send them the STL and they'll print them for you. So because sometimes the shipping and printing can be a lot.
Yeah.
So I've done that for people in Sydney and stuff who are like, we've got them. Can you just print them for us and just pay? Yeah.
Yeah. Any postage from America right now is prohibitively expensive, even for a mini you pay $10 for. So right now, printing is definitely the best way for Australians who already get the Australia tax on everything.
So, going back to all the equipment you guys are using, you've got little dishes there. Run me through those. Why have you got little, you've got dishes, you've got
Same
lids?
thing. I've got the same thing, but you go over there first.
Yes.
Yep.
Would you guys like
Right.
to explain what the little dishes are?
So this is a wet palette. This is sort of, I don't know. It's almost like it's common. It used to be a very extravagant way of painting miniatures. Basically, it's like a sponge in a tray. You put water on the sponge, and there's basically it's fancy baking paper. It goes on the top.
Mine is baking paper.
Nice. Yeah, and then that'll just sort of keep your paints wet as you paint, because they're not oil paints. They will dry very quickly, especially with the small amount that you need to paint a tiny little person. However, it is not necessary. You can make your own DIY, Tupperware, a cheap kitchen sponge and baking paper, or you can just literally use a piece of plastic. This, you can see, I've used this for years. It's packaging. So you don't have to lash out. Wet palettes are good. I will absolutely say that. I'll shill. But that can be something you get down the line if you really enjoy painting.
The 10-second science is water evaporates out of paint. Paint pigment gets thicker and congeals, and it changes the consistency and how you lay down the model, and you get lumpy finishes. So the wet palette, water basically moves through at a constant rate and keeps the moisture level the same, or something.
Or something. That was so technical.
Some people like to know the why. Like, we can say it
Yeah, that was
works, but
amazing.
why?
Now, in terms of brushes, what brushes do you recommend? Do you start out with, for somebody who has never done it before, where do they start?
All right.
Great question.
You can get some decent synthetic brushes now, which are perfectly good. Just like first miniature, whatever.
I
base
only
coat.
use synthetic
Yeah.
brushes. I don't want to ruin the expensive ones,
So
because
run me through the difference between synthetic and maybe more expensive ones.
Cool. All right. So synthetic brushes, which is probably that one. This is no, not that one.
What have you done?
Do you want me to
that?
show you? I've
Look.
got synthetics at the wazoo. You want one of those?
Sure.
Here is one.
Anyway,
It's a brush.
it is a brush.
It's plastic, right?
Yeah.
It's like tiny plastic fibers that you just use, and they
tiny fishing line or something.
yeah. Are they more sturdy than because the other one's like some kind of hair, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, you walk us.
sable is the usual brush
Yeah.
for non-synthetic. So there's this beautiful little animal related to a weasel called a sable that unfortunately is killed, and their fur is turned into brushes. That is the unfortunate reality of these brushes. But basically, the hair is actually incredibly durable and resilient, whereas the what's it called? The fake ones? Synthetic, thank you. It's like a plastic, and it like peels apart over time. So that's where it degrades, is the layers of the plastic basically delaminate off each other, and then it get the creases and bends and goes
Yeah, you can
back.
kind of see. This is showing up on screen that this one's kind of got some fraying out edges. No,
So
don't
like
worry.
wilts outwards like a flower almost.
Yeah.
So you can actually like shampoo and care for natural hair brushes, and they will keep for a lot longer if you know how to take care of them. But they are exceedingly expensive.
So I use the brush soap on these as well, and it will save them for longer.
Yeah.
It kind of breaks down the paint out of the bit in the middle here. It's called the ferrule, and the paint will eventually get down there, and that's what will also split the brush. So you can use some shampoo.
Yeah. The TLDR is that synthetics are cheap, accessible, and you can just sort of like use them till they break, throw it out, get a new one. Sables is what, let's just say, the high-end professional painters who win competitions will use because they have a lot more finesse. They'll hold their point a lot longer. You can do a lot more things with them, and they're a lot more expensive. But if you want to go into them, they're fine. Don't need them, but they can be very good.
I think there's a couple places that sell. There's like a 10-pack. We're not sponsored by this one, but like SMS ones. Yeah, they're just a low. I think they're in Ballarat actually.
Pretty good.
They're pretty good. They sell. I think it's like a 10-pack for about $50 or like 5 for $30, and they're in different range of sizes. They are the sable hair, and I've used those for years. They're quite good. And yeah, so they aren't prohibitively expensive. Are you guys using like Artist Opus over there?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like what, $100+ dollar brush set?
Oh, probably about $220
There you go.
for like 5 brushes.
Yeah. So 50 for 10, or all the way up to what, 250 for
50
5.
a brush is like completely like acceptable.
Yeah.
But don't ask a golfer how much their clubs are. Like,
Yeah.
it's
And
a hobby.
the brush doesn't equivalent. The brush quality is not equivalent to your skill when you are just starting out. Like, I really want to stress that. Like, my want for this panel is not to sell you anything. I want to see every single one of you try painting, either whether it's down at the painting take after this, or just trying it out for yourself in your own time.
Yeah, I believe that these are some Vallejo brushes that were given to us. They are synthetic. You can sort of see it's got a very nice tip on it.
Oh, you got brushes?
You can see that?
Yeah, they went down to the paint take.
Right.
So the paint take
No,
lent us
I
some stuff.
didn't see. I wanted to use it.
And then next here, I've got a nice big, this is an Artist Opus sable brush. So you can sort of see the difference in shape. Got, a very good tip, but you can sort of see that difference in how they're designed, built, and how they sort of swirl and maintain. The synthetic one is very straight hairs, whereas the sable one, the brushes are sort of actually like twirled slightly to create that finish at the end. So that's like the physical difference between them. And as you can see, oh yeah, I could totally just use a synthetic brush, which you can. I don't want to be like...
You probably should, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't one of those things where it will make you better. It's one of those things that as your skill improves, you will learn how to utilize the different tools. But it's better to start cheap and accessible. And if you blow through some brushes, you won't regret spending $4 on them.
Yeah, as you learn, you will be able to get more out of a sable brush. It's not the cheat button.
Yeah.
So with the brushes, you've obviously got to use some paint.
Yes.
What type of paint are you all using? And does the material of the mini that you're painting reflect what type of paint you're using? So if you're using like a plastic, you're painting a plastic one versus say a metal one. You said you can get brass ones.
Yeah, you can get a lot of things are moving over to plastic and resin now because it's just I find it easier to paint personally. How do you guys go with that?
I think the biggest thing is just how you prime said miniature.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what the paint will stick to. So the
So
primer is very
how
important.
would you prime something? Run me through
Cool. All right.
quickly. Run me through priming.
So when it comes to miniatures, you have branded primers. They're all called primers, whether it's Vallejo or Citadel, whatever. You'll have like black primer, white primer, whatever. That's designed to go onto your miniature and stick to it, so you can put paint on it. If you've ever tried to put like Sharpie on a Barbie doll for whatever reason, you probably find that it rubs off very quickly. So if you have a good foundation on the miniature or the model, then it makes it a lot easier. After that, the type of paint actually doesn't really matter. You can use water-based acrylics, enamels, pretty much anything.
Terrific. And Matt, you just said that you have some
Yes.
beginner-friendly paints.
Yeah, so I've got another type of paint called contrast paint. Do you have Express paint over there by chance, the Vallejo one? And so, if so, what colors? Because I want to really give a demonstration on this.
Nah,
while
it's
you
just
guys are
game
talking.
color.
Is there any express
I
color?
got speed paint.
Not here.
You got speed paint?
I got
Alright.
speed paint.
Yeah, can I
Saved.
have like a khaki green if you got one?
So run me through, because
Yeah,
you're
you want one.
saying a lot of words that I'm not understanding.
Sorry. Okay.
There's a quiz later. Keep up.
Yes. Yeah. Keep up, Elliot. So yeah, these paints are probably the most intro friendly. I want to say that if you are going to try out painting, these would be a really good place to start. They are a high pigment wash type paint. Got a lot of flow in them. They will kind of spread over the model. I'm going to do some right now for you.
Yeah, it's
and
this
this is what you're doing entirely, right?
Yeah, that I'm entirely using speed paints
Yeah.
right now. So
It's a one coat type paint.
Yeah,
The stuff
so-
will look great, and it will
when they were talking about priming, so this mini was actually primed black fully, and then you get the white prime and you kind of just like spray it from above, and what it does is it creates all the highlights, and then you've got all the shadows. And so that's called zenithal lighting. And then what you can do is you can take your speed paints and paint over the top of it, and you kind of just get those natural shadows and highlights really quickly. It's a really fast way to paint. Sorry, Matt.
Yeah, it
continue
sort
on.
of behaves like an ink. All the pigmented wash or paint will go into the recesses, sit there, and basically build up so it looks darker there, so you get the natural shading.
Yeah, there's also then the type of priming is really going to inform the way that some of these paints will work. So you'll see I've got like kind of a weird looking one here by comparison, and I've primed this one up in a way that the contrast paint's going to really enjoy. Where I've started in black. It was like this, and then I got grey and white, and did a technique called dry brushing on top, which is just taking a kind of like almost like a makeup brush and taking most of the paint off and just whacking that over the top of it. A lot, quite aggressively. You'll end up with basically it establishing highlights and shadows naturally, almost like a cartoon. And then you use that kind of paint and it will do this. This is exactly what this has done. So you can see up the top here, you can see a lot of definition. You can see in the nice little red brain of the tentacruel up there, you can see all the shadows are in there too. So this is entirely contrast paint as a mini. And I am really happy with the result here. So like it's turned out how I want via some of these particular priming methods. But yeah, I'm a really big fan of contrast paint, even though I don't use those in my what I would consider like character level minis. When I want to get 60 Tyranids done that each look like a different Pokemon, yeah, I'm going to use contrast paint because I can do 10 in an hour versus 10 hours on one.
Terrific. We will get to some audience questions. So just raise a hand if you've got a question. Okay, so we'll get through one question here and we'll just get the microphone ready. But we'll move on because... What?
Oh, that. I don't know if you can see that clearly. So I've got some here. So what I did was again, having a 3D printer is amazing. I printed out a whole bunch of skulls and then primed them and put them on the tops of all my bottles. So then that way when I'm picking colors, I was like, oh, I can see what the color is. So I haven't done it with Citadels because Citadels, it's like, that is really clearly blue to me. I can see that so clearly. But like, different yellows, different browns, things you're like, but how is it actually going to look once I do it? So yeah, that was just a fun project I did and I highly recommend it.
So,
Can I briefly chuck on paint?
Oh, yeah.
Something that I
in a
think
nail
there's
case
a lot of discourse on in the community and on the internet is like, what paint range is better? And it's usually heavily inspired by who is paying me to say this? And I say that as a YouTuber who gets sponsored. So like, there's bias. Media bias is a thing.
Oh no, you keep going. I'm trying to signal to Murray.
Oh, okay. So basically, what I wanted to say is, from my experience in painting all these years and on selling paints, today there is really not a significant difference between the major paint brands. The main difference is actually in the experience you have. So it's worth just trying a little bit out. So there's some paints that are heavily pigmented, and that has pros and cons. Like Citadel paints and Vallejo paints, whether or not you like dropper bottles or pots where you flip the lid, people will tell you one is the best and one is the worst. There's really not a significant difference, and they all have pros and cons. So whatever range is kind of the most accessible to you and you enjoy using, you're not like picking a bad paint range. You're fine.
Yeah, generally people will always universally suggest Citadel, the Games Workshop paints, because they are internationally accessible. some paints,
But
like
Vallejo.
yeah,
That ink,
like,
you got an ink one over there.
yeah,
too, right?
AK can be a lot harder to get a hold of.
So we'll get to our last question before we do the audience questions. Real quick, speed round. Favorite painting technique?
Ooh, overbrushing.
Overbrushing?
Yep.
Quick.
What is overbrushing?
10, 30 seconds.
Cool.
Like this?
It's where you get about half the paint off your brush and you lightly skim it across the model so the paint doesn't go into the recesses. So you get a really nice, clean, sort of overbrushed effect.
Would you consider like how you prime a slap chop technique overbrushing to start with?
It's sort of in between base coating and dry brushing.
That's kind of what this is before I put the contrast paint on, but it's just in monochromatics, but that's a different version of overbrushing.
Dave, your favorite technique?
Freehanding. So basically, it's where you paint almost traditionally on a miniature. So if you've got a large area where you want to paint like a flaming skull or something, you paint that on there. It's really hard to do, and it doesn't always pay off, but I think it's one of the things that most people go like, whoa, because it's not on the mini, and you put it there, and it's fun.
Matt, favorite technique?
Yeah, too many. I'm a fan of getting things done to a good level because I have ADHD. I need something that is not going to take forever unless I really, really need to. That my pile of shame is completely unreasonable. At most. That image for the promo at the start, like all that plastic, I took that photo and it was just sitting on my floor behind me. So getting stuff done really quick, but keeping the time on the nice minis is what I prefer. So right now, Slap Chop is a new kind of weird one with this overbrushing. That's why I keep bringing it up. Contrast paint on just a model. I will do some right now. Is just quick and dirty. And like I can get like a decently sized mini. I think this one took like half an hour or an hour to get it looking like that. And then I took more time putting little grass tufts on the base than I did painting the model. Because I'm extra.
Okay, and Domino, favorite type of technique?
It takes a fair bit of time, but wet blending.
Wet blending. Okay, run me through that.
Brave soul.
It's annoying and it's painful, and you can stuff it up, and you'll be doing it over and over and over and over and over and over until you get it. But if you can get it, it looks really, really good. I don't know how clearly this is going to show. Sorry, man. I'm just gonna. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but like on the leg pieces that are red, it goes from like a red to like a dark shade, and there's also a bit like of a light highlight. That was sort of half layered but half wet blending. But the idea with wet blending is like you would blend two paints on your wet palette, like you'd have say a dark blue and a light blue, and you'd blend them to get a lighter color, like a color in the middle, like a transition. You do it on the mini. So you have to work really fast, and your paints have to be quite liquid and wet still. So you'll put your base color down, then you start putting the highlights, and you start putting the dark, and you're literally blending that gradient as you go on the mini. As I said, it's time consuming, it's really challenging, but if you can get it, the payoff can look really clean.
I'm not a patient man.
Okay, and with that, we'll get into some audience questions. So hands up. So
we had someone over here first earlier, so do we want to?
We've lost our monitor.
Oh, will we go up to
Oh,
the?
no, that's the timer.
You've got
That's the
12
get
minutes.
out timer.
Sorry.
We'll go up to the front here. There you go.
Not entirely a question, but just on the topic of where you can learn, if you're somewhere that doesn't have access to a game shop, because frankly game shops are better, but I work for a company called Minds at Play, and we do
You do such good work.
we do
Genuine. So,
We
give them a
do-
round of applause. Seriously.
Thank you. One of the things we do is we teach a mini painting class virtually. We send out the minis to you, we send out paints, we send out brushes to get you started.
Terrific. Do you
Yeah.
just want to? So what was that one again?
Minds at Play.
Minds at Play.
And every school term we do an 8-week mini painting session, and you'll get about 10 minis from us.
Terrific.
We work with Minds at Play from time to time with my professional DMing, and the work you do is just, I cannot state how much.
We also do Dungeons and Dragons,
Yeah.
so
Just in the. We'll go in the middle here. Just this right here.
I just had a quick one about Matt, I think. That mini that you were painting before,
Which-
is that a Kroot?
Yes, it's a Kroot. It's one of the new ones. Yeah, so I see a fellow Tau connoisseur over here.
Yeah.
Kroot Rampager. So Kroot are actually, if you would call me my favorite faction, this is a Kroot. Bunch of funky little bird guys who the person they're riding is also a Kroot. They kind of have this weird thing where whatever you eat, you start turning into. But yeah, they're fun to paint. I really like painting their green skin tones, and I just made like a 2,000-point army of probably like another 60 of the guys this year because they refreshed their entire range in March.
Something like that.
Anyway.
No, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
Love me some bird Tusken Raiders.
Yeah,
We'll go the fellow just in the middle, just over there. And then hands up again. Sorry. When I raise my hand, if you've got a question, raise it, and I will try to get as many as possible. All right.
Cool. It's not really about the painting technique, but having lots of hobbies and things, what's the best way to store all the stuff?
Oh, that's a rabbit hole. Yeah.
Second house.
I want to say Kmart.
You get
has some
one
really
house?
nice
I was
boxes.
just about to say Kmart. I
Yeah.
literally just recently went to Kmart and bought like these little plastic trays that like pull out, and I have like sets just sitting in
Yeah.
them.
And like makeup drawers, they're brilliant.
Oh yeah.
I got a cheeky cheating one as
I was
well.
going to say the thing that my paints were in that photo, that was a nail polish holder. You can just buy them on Amazon. They're not that expensive. They're plastic. You just put them together and you just put all your paints in them.
You
It's
got that
great.
case as well the other day.
Oh, the Warhammer case.
Your case. So Domino, while you get that, Domino went to a Warhammer store the other day. We were talking about like they'll do like paint things. If you do the painting course, they give you a case,
Yeah.
Sweet.
like for free,
And it comes with like.
which is for Warhammer.
Foam.
Do it. You're already spending so much money. Get the free thing.
It comes with foam
give you
and
a mini
stuff in
too.
it. I would like to say though, like, I don't know if they're still doing it, so don't go down to your Warhammer store and be like, I was told I can get this for free and like demand it. Just like find out. Just be like, if I do the painting thing, is there a case? Or even just talk to them about the cases they've got, because there are cases you can buy. You can get cases from your local game store as well to like transport minis in and stuff as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, one is your local Bunnings will have like
Oh yeah, bunny.
hard photography like camera cases. $50, you can probably get like a small force in those. They're pretty good.
Fishing tackle cases.
That's what I used when I was playing Warhammer.
Yes, because they have all the little containers, so you put them in fishing tackle boxes.
Or like toolboxes, like a big
Toolboxes?
Stanley one's really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't you have one the other day?
Oh yeah, I got food
Okay,
containers
so
right here.
the next question will go, yep.
Yeah, I've got a question for Murray, actually.
Hi.
At the start, you mentioned that you break the rules when it comes to painting. And obviously, you can't condense years and years of training into your 1 minute answer.
Yeah.
But what techniques specifically break the rules that you think work quite well?
All right. So I said before that Games Workshop has sort of standardized how you paint miniatures. It's sort of, you paint the model one color, then you give it a shade with like a wash or something, and then you go back, you reestablish the main color because you washed it, and then you do a highlight line, like line highlighting specifically on every angle regardless of where the light is coming from. That makes all the angles on a sculpture stand out and looks good in photography and on the screen. From a traditional background of painting, you do things like underpainting is something I really like to do. So that's where you establish values, whether that's to do with like mood or setting, things that will evoke something in the viewer, which is something you see all the time in an art gallery. Why is someone painted that color? Why did Vincent van Gogh, stab the painting with a paintbrush and use weird colors and swirls? It's just to evoke something, create an atmosphere in the little model that you're trying to paint, make it a little world. So you use all the colors that sort of don't really make sense. I'm a huge fan of Impressionism movement, which you can probably see in a lot of the colors in the art I do. And that's how I sort of differ. I'm also a big fan of Craft World Studio Miniatures. If you can go Google someone, I would highly recommend them. They're brilliant.
Okay, so with that, I'm going to run around the room, so please keep your hand raised if you do have a question. I'm going to try and get a good spread from the whole room, so I'm sorry if we don't get to your question, but it was this gentleman.
And look, by my timer, it's saying like 13 minutes. If we're allowed that, just double check.
Just a question about brushes and starting out. Is there particular sizes you should kind of get to start with that's going to be useful and do a lot of things, or is it kind of different things for different pieces?
I want to say that actually Games Workshop, etc., will have sizes. They'll be like medium, large, dry brush, whatever. I'd go for medium and large brushes. You can get tiny, like S small.
Yeah.
But I think the bigger the brush you go, the better or rather, the faster you'll paint a miniature, because you can cover more area, but also you'll learn to use the brush better. This brush I showed before, this great big honking brush, the miniature you can see that I'm credited with painting up there, I painted entirely with this brush.
What size is that?
5.
Nah. No.
They all come to the same size point.
No, I know that, but what?
So that's
Yeah, so
Yeah, fair. Oh.
Yeah,
I
they've
use
all
like
got
a
those
1
certain
and a
stuff as
2.
It's a 2.
It's
It's a
oh,
2.
oh, okay, well,
Right.
okay.
We have confirmation. This is a 2.
Mr. 5 over here.
Yeah, I was like, what?
It says 5. So
Yeah.
you can see that this brush is very big compared to like this miniature. And as I did like all the details, all the highlighting, all the little micro scratches with this brush.
Okay, terrific. So change your plans again because you all do have your hands up and your arms are going to get sore. So I'll just shout out, hands up, and then put your hands up. So put them down for now. And then when I say hands up, and then but we do have a question here.
Hello, I was wondering, you said that generally water-based paints are best for painting miniatures. Can you still use things like acrylic gouache or any kind of paints you may already have at home? Or is it best to buy specific paints for
Acrylics
minis?
are by nature water-based by default. Can you get oil-based acrylic?
I think so. I
I
know
don't know.
scale paint has like
They're like a gel, right?
yeah, they've got gel-based stuff, but they also
I don't like working with those, but that's just
Yeah,
my
they're a bit
preference.
funky.
They're weird. They're like a if you're used to mini painting kind of paint.
Yeah, but they also have like a range that they introduced a few years ago now, which is in sort of like traditional like paint tubes. I haven't been able to use them yet, so I can't say
Oh,
for
fair.
sure, but I think they're a bit different as
Wait,
well.
was this scale 75?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a set that are like human skin colors, and they had a really
Hands up.
strong smell to them. I wasn't a fan of them.
Yeah, I
So
don't
I'm
want
gonna
to
say, yeah, any paint, go for it.
Yeah, like get the. I would also stress that like if you're getting like washes and contrast paints and stuff, it's important for the brush health. If you don't want to like be do not use anything watery with your artist opuses because that's a fast track to needing to wash them or throw out town or repurposing them or whatever you want to do. Get your synthetics for your like really liquidy paints because they're going to go straight up into the middle and that's how you get a dead brush pretty quick or like one that can't hold the point anymore. So try and keep those separated from like your regular base or acrylics. If you're going to Games Workshop, base, layer, highlight kind of paints and then separate those from like washes and contrast.
Okay, next question.
Okay, so there's a photo actually being run up. I am at best a mediocre painter, but I love doing wacky color schemes, and I'm a Star Wars Legion player. Mm-hmm. This is a 70s pimp Cad Bane.
What?
So, what is your favorite sort of wacky color scheme like that?
Hell yeah.
I mean, I painted...
Like, the feather there is not part of the model. Like, I took that off one of my chickens.
Can I...
I'm gonna be honest. I'm always a fan. Every iteration of like Space Marine that comes out, that we get like a Buzz Lightyear paint scheme. It's always my favorite.
Oh, this is rad. I really like this. Yeah.
I don't feel I did the shading particularly well, especially on the white vest and on the pants. Like, it looks more dirty than
You're fine.
shaded.
You're totally
Hands
fine.
up.
This looks
Is
great.
that white? Can I have a quick look?
Yeah, it's white pants and a shirt, the green
Did you
vest.
paint it white?
White is one of the hardest colors to paint.
It
Yeah.
is.
Quick-
My white is a bitch to use.
Quick tip: don't paint white. So
No, paint
so
grey.
paint like a different color that is the shade behind the white. So either like a grey blue or a sort of
I got Ulthuan right here.
a warm color, and then build up to white in the highlights. Don't use shades on whites; it will make your life so much easier. Just build up from a grey or a flesh tone or something into bright white.
Yeah, so these two are like off-whites. This one's like Wraithbone. These are both Citadel. So Wraithbone's like a warm off-white, and then Ulthuan's your kind of cold off-white. Don't be like me and decide your main color scheme for some of your other armies are white.
Okay, next question.
Yeah, so I also got bitten by the bug in COVID, and full of good intentions, bought a bunch of paints, some minis, bits and pieces. Life takes over, kids take over. These paints have been sitting away in the cupboard for 2 house moves. Is there a way to rescue those?
Yes. I'm not super familiar with that. You guys?
Are they a solid block?
Not sure yet.
Okay.
Check them.
You can reactivate them with paint medium. So you can buy medium, even like Citadel's Lamian medium. Any paint Viejo has like paint medium. Make sure it's for the correct paint, and you just remix it and really thoroughly stir it through, and you may be able to save them.
Yeah, you got a chance.
It's medium is pigment. It's paint without the pigment, which is the color.
You can also use water. Medium would be a little bit better though.
Yeah, it's stable, like more stable, and won't dry out like water will.
All right, next question.
So say you bought a bunch of second-hand Warhammer minis, and what's the best way to strip them of their paint and put in the new?
Green stuff?
Green stuff. Yeah, you
What
can get
is
it from
green stuff?
Bunnings. You can get it from Bunnings. Okay. Yeah, it's a paint stripper. So you can use green stuff from Bunnings as a paint stripper.
Yeah,
Are they
not the
resin,
putty?
plastic,
Okay.
metal? Plastic. Okay. Do not use isopropyl alcohol. So you can use isopropyl alcohol straight to strip minis as well, strip the paint. But if you use them on the Warhammer plastic, it might melt the plastic. So
Whoa,
don't.
really?
Yeah, I found that out the other week. May or may not have used it on some Necrons.
Whoopsie.
But I didn't ruin the Necrons, but my partner was like, you shouldn't use that on plastic.
Oh,
I was
I
like,
bet.
"Ooh."
Okay, well, we'll
You
stop doing
can
it.
very safely, like with an earbud or something. But yeah, I think you can potentially also use nail polish remover, but the green stuff apparently from Bunnings is actually really good. I actually need to...
Do not use acetone on plastic minis.
No.
No, yes, exactly. Yeah, don't use that, no. But yeah. Okay, Dettol as well, apparently. Yeah, so there's a few different ways you can strip them. I've actually got to strip a bunch to like redo some stuff. So yeah, I'm just going to get the green stuff.
So by the sounds, it's alcohol-based solutions.
This
there you go.
was acetone on a metal mini. You can do it on metal minis, and even then, it was a scrubbing brush, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
That's for metals.
Okay, next question.
Hi guys, Matt, you mentioned earlier very aptly the pile of shame. We have a room.
Pile of opportunity.
We've got a room of shame at home.
Same.
We just buy stuff. 'Cause we're like,
Yeah.
that's cool, and then it takes us 7-8 years to get to it.
Yeah.
How do you catalogue, figure out where to start? We've got stuff in boxes. Like it's just overwhelming.
What kind of answer do you want?
Something that's going to be useful.
Uh,
Please. I also have ADHD as well, so
Yeah, look, follow that bliss is my best advice. Like, I love converting, so I'll buy like 4 packets of minis to get like 6 bits out of. Like right now, I'm actually converting the main 3 characters of Space Marine because I was like, love the game, gonna 3D print their heads and convert all of them. It's fun, but I've bought 3 kits, which is like, what, a couple $100 at this point, just for 3 guys over World of Work, and I'm going to use the other stuff there. Try not to outpace the painting you're doing with the purchases you're making. You're laughing because I know that you're struggling like me and have the plastic all over the floor, but like, stop.
Stop.
What can I say? What can I say other than like, don't do what I do? Don't.
So, I mean, there is, like, if you're literally talking about how to organize it, I have a cupboard at home, get Bunnings cases with drawers, plastic drawers. If you've half used a kit, clip all the bits off and put it in a little plastic drawer. It will condense it. It's a really good hyper-focus task for an afternoon. Label them with like a little label makeup, and it does wonders when you walk into that, open those cupboard doors and just go, oh, there's a mini I bought 12 years ago, but now is the time. It's fine. Then it becomes a pile of opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got like 4 minutes left. We're going to do one last question. Matt, figure out how we're giving out those things.
Oh, sweet. Hey, okay. I want a really weird question for one. Like, think of the most out there thing you can think of in terms of specifically mini painting. You're primed. And then I want someone to tell me, I haven't finished all my Pokemon Tyranids. What Pokemon is this? This Barb Gaunt, if you know what it is, from Tyranids. What Pokemon is this? And what do I paint it? What color scheme is it? That is your hard question. So if you know Pokemon, great. I'm sorry if you don't. But
our last question.
Okay.
So sorry, everyone.
this will be for a set of dice.
It is 2 speed questions. 1, brush licking, yes, no, and why. And 2, if you could do your painting journey over again, what is the one thing that you would want to learn first to avoid coming across barriers?
There you go.
Sorry, I just learnt something yesterday. Matt blew my mind, and I wish I had known this sooner. all those amazing photos of incredible looking minis on Instagram. It's like an Instagram filter, okay? They don't look like that. It's beautiful lighting. It's an amazing camera. Do not feel bad when your minis, you can see the paint lines and they look like that. And the reason I had this epiphany the other day is because I said to Matt, I was looking at my Witch mini, I was like, I can still see the lines. When I photograph it, it doesn't look good. And then I showed him this mini of someone else on Instagram, like someone that I follow. I was like, how does he do that? Like, I should know this. I'm getting paid to paint minis. Why do I not know how to make it look like that? And he's like, no, that's just lighting and a good camera. I'm like, oh. So seriously, like, don't get me wrong, those also look amazing and those people do amazing jobs and they are some crazy amazing painters out there, but don't think that you're a bad painter and can't do that quality. Just understand that sometimes it is lighting and really good cameras, okay? So yeah, don't get hung up on that. That's my thing.
Done is better than good. Done is better than good. Murray, you got your lictor here, by the way?
I do.
Oh.
This is the Warhammer Community Featured Lictor. I don't know how you can find it super easily, but on your phone, Google it. You can see his work here. Like, take a photo of it, and then you can see the professionally taken photo. It's literally just
What
like...
do you have on the slide?
I tried to find it. Is it on a slide?
Matt, did she win the dice?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was a...
Congratulations.
Where's the dice?
On a thing.
Over there. Round of applause for our winner, though.
And how are they winning the D&D book?
I want my Pokemon to have a color scheme.
Just shout out your answers.
Houndoom. It's got 3. Yeah, all right. Houndoom.
Oh, yeah.
Mimikyu.
I don't want to win, but I want you to paint it Pikachu themed.
I've already... Okay, so here's the thing. I've already got 2 Pikachus. I've got a regular Pikachu Termagant, and I've got a Ditto Pikachu, so you're not going to win. Umbreon. I've got an Umbreon. What? Heat Trend. Oh, Rayquaza. I like that. All right, anyone got beat Rayquaza?
I'm basic, Bulbasaur.
Got Bulbasaur. Huh? Got that. I like Shiny Aggron. What colour's that? Blue and grey.
Matt, we got 20 seconds. You got to pick someone.
I like. Nah. I like Rayquaza, so Rayquaza's gonna win. Sorry. Sorry, I'm being mean.
Matt, you picked the same person.
All right, congratulations. You win a D&D 2024 Player's Handbook. I also have a personal stash mini that I wanted to give away just so I could literally... What?
I was going to say, just quickly, can we just say each person's handles?
Yes.
So that, yeah, so if
Yes,
anyone wants to follow people...
quickly do your socials.
Murray? Socials?
Spontaneous Squiggle on Instagram.
Cool. Dave?
Narrator Dave on things.
Yep.
Briefcasebrown on Instagram.
Dominojackminis on Instagram. Cool. Now, do your mini
yeah,
things.
so I found like something in my pile of shame. It's this Eldar Autark, by the way. So
who has never painted a mini before?
Who has never painted? And okay.
Who is going to paint it?
You just won.
You like space elves.
Okay, so yeah, it's a space elf type thing. It's a really wonderful mini. I was like, I'm never going to do this. So I would like it to go to a home of someone who I want to paint. I want to see it painted. No, they just won the book.
No.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And then are we doing this one as well?
No, sorry. I wanted to show off this one. This
Okay.
is my partner gave this to me, so this is not going up. But yes, if you want, okay, you can have that because I want to see it painted, and I'm going to hold you to it. Okay, sweet. So at me or any of us, Briefcasebrown, and I want to see that painted.
Or we'll find you.
We will find you.
If you do want to paint, don't forget the paint and take downstairs in the tabletop area to go give it a go and just suss it out.
How much does it cost?
I think it's free. You just
It's
go, you just
free.
show up. And they've got
For
like,
free?
They've just got minis primed, ready to go, some paint. You can just go have a go at it. Yeah.
Okay, and that's going to be us done for today. So thank you so much for coming, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed. Sorry we didn't get to all your questions. I know there was a lot of hands raised, but thank you so much for being here and have a wonderful rest of your packs.
We got to pack up a little bit, but I'll be out here for a while, just answering questions because I don't have to run to another panel for once.